In this special report, my co-anchor Lylah tells us about an organization that helps thousands of creative teens become even more creative.
Here's a question. What do you think all these people have in common?
Actors, Timothy Chalamet, Kerry Washington, and Jessica Darrow. She's the voice of Louisa in Encanto. Rapper Nicki Minaj and country singer Chris Young. Fashion icon Billy Porter. And movie maker Neil Dodson. If you said they're all connected with some form of art, good for you. But they have an even stronger connection. They all got their start at a national competition held every year.
YoungArts is one of the only organizations in the U.S. that supports artists across 10 disciplines, beginning with the critical moment when they decide to pursue a life in the arts and continuing throughout their careers. For over 40 years, YoungArts has encouraged and boosted the careers of thousands of future artists. Across America, we are the premier organization for support of our next generation of promise and talent. We are YoungArts.
And one of those people with the promise and talent is right here at New York City's Dalton School.
His name is George Porteus, and his talent is acting. What was your reaction when you learned that you were a winner in the YoungArts competition?
My reaction was shock. I was pretty over the moon, as you might expect. I was just in a class, actually, and my phone started to vibrate, and I don't know why, but I kind of felt like it might be a special call, and I also saw that it was Florida, and I don't know many people in Florida, so I thought I should pick up this call, and I went out into the hallway, picked it up, and they told me, "You're a Young Arts winner," and asked me if I would come to Miami in January, which was pretty extraordinary, and I went right back to class, not really sure if I was dreaming or not, and the rest is history.
Every year, about 8,000 teens across the country apply, but only 10% are accepted. So you'd probably expect that one would work long and hard on their entry submission. Well, not exactly.
That's true. I sent in my auditions just 2 days before the deadline, which I don't recommend. But I had been hedging as to whether I would even enter for a long time. I didn't know if I was good enough. I didn't know if anything would come of it. And 2 days out, I just thought, why not? And so I, recorded 2 monologues of myself, sent them in, and really forgot about them until they got back to me.
George shared with us that video. Here's an excerpt.
This is the air. That is the glorious sun. This pearl she gave me, I do feel it and see it. And though 'tis wonder that enwraps me thus, yet 'tis not madness.
So you were notified that you were a winner. What happened next?
After that, things moved very quickly. I was expected to learn 3 or 4 monologues, a scene, just in the span of a few months while I was also writing all of my college applications. So I had my hands full for a while. And then in January, I flew to Miami, and I spent a week there for Young Arts Week, which was extraordinary. It was one of the best weeks of my life, if not the best week of my life, honestly.
What was that like?
Young Arts Week was pretty extraordinary, I have to say, because I discovered there were people like me from all across the country who were interested in the kinds of things I was, like theater, and there were people working in film or music and visual arts. And the funny thing is that even though it was 1 week, some of those people I met at Young Arts Week remain some of my closest friends, and I catch up with them. And it's a real community. That's what's really exceptional about it. And then, of course, the support that you're given, the artists that you get to work with. I worked with B.D. Wong, who you might know from Law & Order. So that was pretty cool, getting to meet people who cared about the things I did, too. That's actually a photo of me
Oh, wow.
in a 9th grade production of The Importance of Being Earnest.
George told me he's cared about acting pretty much his whole life. Besides school plays, he's also done some TV commercials. But in Miami, he had to perform a monologue on a stage in front of hundreds of people.
I'm sorry for leaving like that, but I think it was meant to happen this way. I've realized something so important, and when I was out there, when I started wandering, I was thinking about middle school. My friend Josh, who lived outside of town on this ranch.
Were you as calm as you looked?
I'm glad I looked calm. I don't know if I was leading up to it because we rehearsed just a few times and, I understood that it would be live and a lot of people might be watching. But during the monologue itself, when I was actually performing, I think whenever I act, I enter a kind of trance state where I don't really know what's going on and I kind of forget who I am. And that to me is kind of the best part of it, is being able to lose yourself in that way. And so, yes and no.
I'm the problem. There's something in me that isn't right. And if I work hard enough, I can change, right? And I know it's going to be work, but that work can start here, with you.
To sit in solemn silence.
To sit in solemn silence.
In a dull, dark dock.
In a dull, dark dock.
In a pestilential prison.
In a pestilential prison.
With a lifelong lock.
With a lifelong lock.
Besides acting, George also likes directing.
Oh, welcome, stranger. My feet will feel the follicles of your friendly soul.
Here, he's working with classmates on a comedy sketch.
Like you've never seen a couch before. Someone's just told you this is what a couch is. So take a couch and let that hang in the air.
George also has a talent in another field, journalism, which I happen to know from personal experience. Not only am I also a student at Dalton, I'm also an editor for the school newspaper, The Daltonian. And that brings up a rather special connection with Teen Kids News. I'll tell you about that as well as more about the Young Arts competition right after this break. Be right back. In the previous segment, we met 18-year-old George Porteus. He's a winner in the prestigious Young Arts competition. And joining us now is the president of Young Arts, Clive Chang. Your organization certainly sounds impressive. Who can apply?
Our national competition welcomes applicants from 10 disciplines of art. That's everything from classical music to dance to jazz to voice to theater to film to poetry. And every year we receive about 8,000 applications from all across the country. And each year we select about 600 winners.
What do you want the finalists that participate in National Young Arts Week to get out of the experience?
I bet a lot of these brilliant artists out there, all of you watching, sometimes feel like you are the only person in your school or even in your city that's at the caliber that you are at. And so Young Arts Week is this magnificent opportunity for you to come together with like-minded, brilliant peers like yourselves to really explore and inspire each other and, of course, train with the most amazing guest artists of our day.
This isn't just a one-and-done relationship. Tell us about other opportunities for growth.
Once in the Young Arts community, we will be there for you for life, whether it's through grants or residency opportunities, fellowship opportunities, exhibition opportunities. And so we hope that National Young Arts Week is really just the beginning of a lifelong relationship with Young Arts and with the community that you will be entering, which is now 21,000 strong and growing every year.
George, what advice do you have for other teens who want to take their career in the arts to the next level?
I would say to take risks. Like I said, I never knew that I was going to win Young Arts. In fact, I had very low expectations. And then I took a chance and something amazing happened. So whether you're an artist, a painter, an actor, a singer, whatever it is, I think the beautiful thing is just to take risks because you have nothing to lose.
Great. Thank you both for talking with us.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Thank you for having me.
As I mentioned earlier, Teen Kids News has a special connection with Dalton. Our executive producer, Alan Weiss, is a Dalton graduate. He came along on the shoot to visit his old school.
It's certainly brings back a lot of memories.
Like George, Alan was also the editor of the school newspaper.
back in the day, right? We didn't have laptop computers.
Or a website. I
Or a
imagine.
website.
Yeah.
So the Daltonian was printed every week on paper.
Okay.
And so it was like 8 or 9 pages.
Alan told me that the experience was life-changing, literally.
Being the editor of the school newspaper got me really excited about journalism, and I followed it for the rest of my career. I went to college for journalism. I got my first job at ABC News as a journalist, traveled around the world, covered incredible stories.
This is the Horse Guard here at the palace. They're on their way from here to Whitehall.
This beautiful church was built in the 16th century.
It was June 1940 when the Germans marched into Paris.
Over my left shoulder, you're seeing what remains of World Trade Center number 6. Met incredible people. Now I'm the executive producer of Teen Kids News, and I get a chance to work with up-and-coming journalists like you.
Producing news and documentaries and earning 8 Emmy Awards.
The Emmy is handed out tonight for the best in local broadcasting. The special television awards were given out at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. And we here at Eyewitness News are proud to tell you about some of our people who've won. Producer Alan Weiss received an Emmy for the best spot news coverage following the murder of singer John Lennon.
And it all started with being the editor of a school newspaper. For Teen Kids News, I'm Lylah.